Is Amazon KDP still worth it in the year 2026? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you decide. What's up, guys? Dave Jacobson here, best-selling author and book publisher. And in today's video, I thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different. So what I'd like to do is share real-world actual data with you for the books that I've published just in this year, in the year 2026. So you can get an expectation, a realistic expectation of what you might be able to achieve if you just are starting out publishing books in this year on Amazon KDP. So if that sounds good, guys, without further ado, I'm going to shrink my melon size head here. And you can see that what I've done is I've pulled up my Amazon KDP account. And I have, this is my total account. So you can see that I've got 86 books here, right? And from in the last 5 days, we're just getting started with this day, which is May 6th, as of the time I'm recording this. But in the last 5 days and a little bit into this morning, I've sold 100 books so far this month. So you know that's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about those results. But that's not what I want to share with you. Basically, I want to share with you today just the data from the books that I've published this year only, 2026. And the purpose of this is to give you an understanding of what you can actually achieve if you're just starting publishing this year, right? So we're going to narrow down the results here, and we're going to look at just 14 books, okay? Now, for 14 books, you can see that the dates I've got selected here are a little bit different, right? So this is for the entire year, from January 1st through today, May 6th, 2026, okay? So far you can see this year I've sold, oh, by the way, I've got the 14 books selected only that I've published this year, right? Now I started publishing in March, and I'm going to show you that in detail right now. So January and February really don't even count. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and you can see here that in January of this year, I had total units of 0, right? And then a little bit later in February of this year, I sold, again, 0 units. Now, I can't go over and hover over March, April, and May because that will reveal the titles of the books that I've sold. But you can kind of see on the left-hand side here, we've got some numbers that will help you understand how much I've sold. So we can just approximate and say in March, I sold about, it looks like about 12 units, something like that. And then in April, I sold about around 43 units, right, in all of April. And then in May, I sold, so far, it's only the 6th of the month, and I've already sold about 26 units, right? So what does that mean? By the way, what I like to do a little bit later in this video, make sure you stick around, is I'm going to actually break down for you the actual hourly rate that I'm getting paid by creating these books, okay? So we're going to do a detailed analysis of all this stuff so you can really understand, is it worth it for me to do this in the year 2026, right? But we're going to get there. First, I'm just sharing some sort of broader data with you. You can see that I've already sold 26 units in the month of May so far, and it's only May 6th, right, in the morning, as of the time I'm recording this. So now we're going to go over to a trusty online calculator here, okay? And I'm going to clear this out, and you'll see that, okay, so if I sold 26 books in the first, let's say 6 days, it's really just the first five days, but let's say 6 days of May, if I divide that by 6 days, then I'm selling approximately 4.33 books per day. Now, again, this is just, I've only got selected the 14 books that I started creating as of March, right? So I've created 14 books in March, April, and the first part of May so far this year, okay? I've excluded the other, whatever it is, 72 books that I've created over the past 5 years, just so we can focus on what are realistic results for the year 2026, right? So started publishing in the year March, which I just showed you, or sorry, in the month March. And of those books alone, just the new books that I just put out recently, I'm selling about 4.3 books per day in the month of May so far. So there's 31 days in the month of May. So if I multiply by 31, you can see that I'm on track for selling approximately 134 books this month alone, just of the books that I just published within the last 2.5 months. Okay. So if we go back to this chart here, you'll see that in April, I sold 43 books approximately. So in May, by the end of the month, we're going to see this skyrocket and basically go straight up like a hockey stick, this chart by the end of May, and we're going to see 134-ish books sold in the month of May, okay? So far we've just talked about units sold, right? Again, 0 in January because I hadn't published any books yet, 0 in February, about 12 in March, about 43 in April, and about 134 approximately based off of our current pacing for the month of May, okay? So if let's say we're doing 134 book sales in the month of May, right? I'm going to get to the actual royalties in a minute, but over 12 months, right? In a year from now, just those new books that I've published since March I should sell about 1,612 copies in a year, okay, of those books alone. Now that assumes just a flat performance starting in May, right? Now what if, which does happen, as time goes on, some of these books start to succeed. Amazon's a performance-based algorithm, so we're going to see those numbers go even higher, right? But just to give you, again, the goal of this is just to give you some approximate understanding of what you can realistically expect in the year 2026. So far we've just talked about units processed, right? Now let's take a look at royalties. How much actual money can you make? Make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to break down the math, including talking about exactly what my hourly rate is for creating these books, okay? So far, you'll see that just in the last, let's go back to the beginning of the year, first of all. Okay, so I'm going to select this year, right? And again, I've only got those 14 books selected that I've created just this year, starting in March. So far, I've made $245 from those 14 books from January 1st through May 6th. Now, remember, I made $0 in January, and I made $0 in February because we're only talking about books that I published this year, and I didn't start publishing books till March, right? And then in May, and then in March, I made approximately, it looks like maybe around $33 in royalties, right? I'm looking at the left side of this chart here to guesstimate. Then in April, I made 100 and maybe 30, 120. Let's be conservative. Let's say $125 in the month of April, just from the new books that I started publishing in March, right? Okay, so now, where are we at for May? Well, May, I created, it looks like probably around $78 in May so far. But again, I'm recording this video on May 6th in the morning. So we've got to do some calculations, right? So let's say, let's be generous and conservative with our estimates. So let's say we did $77 in royalties in the first 6 days. Now I'm going to make more than that because I'm going to sell some books today too in the first 6 days. But let's just say 77 divided by 6 gives us about $13 a day. Okay, so of the books that I've just started publishing in March of this year, I'm already making for the first 5 or 6 days of this month on average $12 or $13 per day, right? So, okay, let's estimate now what I'm going to make for the entire month of May, right? Well, there's 31 days in May, so I'm going to multiply by 31, and that gives me $398, right? So just in the month of May alone, I'm on track, I'm on pace right now to create, to generate about $400 in royalty revenue, right? Okay, so now let's break this down even further, guys. And this is where it gets really exciting, okay? So that's just the month of May, right? And again, I've got 14 books selected. That's what we're talking about. Just the books that I started publishing in March. It's 2 months later, and I'm already making $400 a month from just those books that I published starting 2 months ago, right? Now, I think most people at home will be like, well, that's pretty good, right? That's not too shabby. But the cool thing is, now that I've created those books, I literally don't have to do anything for those books anymore. They're already created. They're on Amazon's platform, and they will continue selling, right? So now let's say, okay, how much am I going to make in a year from just those books that I've already published, right? So we're going to multiply 400 a month, which is about what I'm going to make in May, right? But, and again, we're assuming that the numbers aren't going to go up with performance, which is not true. These numbers are actually going to increase over time. But let's just say, okay, again, to be conservative, that we're going to make about $400 per month across 12 months, which is a year. Guys, we're on pace to make $4,800 this year from now through the end of next April from just those books, those 14 books that I created. Okay, that's almost $5,000 a year from those books. Okay, now ideally, right, as long as those books continue selling, they could sell. Let's say I continue selling those books for 3 years. Well, then they're going to make me $14,400, right? But let's go back to the 4,800 number. We're just talking about assuming we're just going to project 12 months out, because it gets difficult to project any farther than that, right? Okay, so now let's talk about what is my hourly rate for creating these books. Okay, so obviously the first month that I started publishing the books, I didn't have all this revenue coming in. But what we're going to do is we're going to assume that that these books are going to continue selling at about that pace for the next 12 months. Okay, and then we're going to look back retroactively and determine what my hourly rate was right now. Now it's like I'm not going to get this money right until 12 months from now, but let's just assume I'm patient and I don't care that much about that. I just want the money coming in at some point, right? Well, in that case, okay, now this calculation is going to be different for everybody, right? But in my case, I'm pleased to say that I've got sort of the book creation process down to a science now, right? I know how to target niches. I know how to do my keyword research. I know before I even publish a book, based off of the metrics that I'm seeing with my keyword research, that a book is going to generate some sales. And so I've got this down to a science now, right? Which you can do too if you study the methods that I'm teaching. By the way, if you're interested in this kind of thing and you want to try it out on your own, I highly encourage you to consider subscribing to this channel, as I'll be putting out more information that will help you achieve these same results. But regardless of that, let's say, okay, so for me, what is my hourly rate? That's what we wanted to determine now, right? So for me, when I've created each of these books, I've been able to generate them in approximately 3 hours or less on average, okay? It's actually less than that. I've got it really down to a science now, but in terms of my own time that I put into creating these books, it's about 3 hours, right, per book. Now, I've created 14 books, right, over the last 3 months. So that took me 14 books times 3 hours per book. Sorry, let me start this over. 14 times 3 equals 42 hours, right? So it took me 42 hours to create this mechanism for generating income, which is going to generate me approximately $4,800 this year in value. So now let's divide 4,800 by 42, which gives me my hourly rate across the next year for creating those books. And my hourly rate, guys, is $114 per hour, approximately. Now, again, this assumes that like I'm not going to make any more money after a year from now, which is a false assumption. Hopefully these books will generate me income for many years to come, right? But let's just say like worst case scenario or whatever, these books eventually plateau, however you want to think about it. I can say with pretty good confidence that I'm at least making $114 an hour when I'm generating these books, okay? So that means I'm getting paid myself to run my business and to grow my business. So the bottom line, guys, when we put all of those things into consideration is this. Is it worth it in the year 2026 to get started with Amazon KDP? And I would say that most people would be very excited about generating $100 an hour or $115 an hour to grow their own business. So if you agree with that, then I think the answer is pretty clear that yes, it is still absolutely worth it. If you found value in this video, guys, please consider liking, subscribing, and I'll see you next time.